First off, I would like to congratulate you because 6 out of 8, that's not the best what we wanted. But how do you sum up the League 2 series at home? We were in desperate need of such points. How do you sum it up?
Yeah, look, I think it was a highly successful couple of weeks for us, really, out at TU. The first series with Oman and UAE. Oman are way up there. They're up there in the number 3 position. They've played some good cricket. They've managed to get those points ahead of us, and to make some ground on them was great. But also, when we come up against Scotland and the USA, the top 2 teams, and to win 3 out of the 4 games was an outstanding effort, a great achievement from us, and it puts us in a good position. We're not safe yet. That's the thing about associate cricket. You win games, but you've still got to keep winning games to get through. So. The next series in Netherlands is going to be very important in foreign conditions, but I think the players can take confidence from what we did in Scotland and take that into the Netherlands as well.
And to take you back to the Oman series first, the series against Oman and UAE, we lost 1 game, and that 1 game was rain affected.
Yeah.
The way we approached that game, how do you describe it? Because it looked like the players were a bit confused at the middle when we started the series. How do you describe that situation?
Yeah, it is difficult. And the water that came down, the rain that came was heavy rain, and it slightly affected the playing surface for a period of time there. We saw the ball in the first innings didn't spin an inch. In the second innings, it started to spin a little bit, and then it dried out again. So it was difficult. We lost too many wickets, but having sat there and watched it all happen, we probably could have been more aggressive at the top. Yes, but playing in rain and dark, it was a difficult game. Batsmen coming in saying they had trouble initially, sighting the ball clearly, and that's not just the darkness. It was also the rain that was getting in, falling as well. A lot of factors, but not making any excuses. They're the facts. That's what happened. But we probably could have been a little bit more aggressive in our approach at the top of the order. We probably could have done with a left-handed top order batsman in the first series.
If you see that from that game, what we learned was in the second series against Scotland, we lost the game, but the way we approached the series after the DL came in,
Yep.
Gulshan nearly there but not there. Do you think that was the learnings that we used in this Scotland game?
Yeah, look, I think that you learn. We sat down and we talked about how we could approach it differently. And number one thing is you can't bank on the weather. You get to the ground and everyone's telling you it's going to rain at 2 o'clock, it's going to rain at 11. Well, you don't know. Here the weather can be very unpredictable up here in the mountains. It could be no rain forecast. It could rain for 3 hours. So, we just said, forget about the weather. Let's not worry about what might happen. Let's worry about what is going to happen. And I think we took that approach into that game, and we came out better. We still lost, but it was one of those tight games that we tended to have recently with Scotland. Unfortunately, we fell short, but I think very proud. Gulshan apologised to me at the end of the game, and I went, never apologise for nearly winning a game. It wasn't his job. The top 5, top 6 should have scored more runs, but he nearly pulled off a miraculous win. But I think that gave us good confidence, knowing that we can chase down totals. I found that we were a very good team in the second series. And that game just unfortunately we let slip. It would have been nice to have won 4.
You started Oman series with Kusal and Asif opening the innings, and in between we had a different pair opening as well. We tried 2 players as well, but come end of the second series, we have Asif and Kusal and at their best. How do you describe that transition period and the end result that we got?
Look, I think every now and then in your career, if it's not working and you're not finding ways to score runs, it's nice to get a jolt, a kick up the backside, we say in Australia, and it gives you perspective of where you're actually at, and what is easily given to you can also be easily taken away. And I think the guys, when we removed them from the team, we sat down and we spoke, and we tried to work out how we could get better as players. And that goes for everybody who sits out. How can we get better as players? Whether it's a technical change, a mental change, And credit to both Asif and Bertel. We sat, we spoke, we came up with different plans. We got Kushal batting a different way against certain types of bowling, and he came out and blitzed it in that first game that he came back and getting 100 not out. So that was pleasing to watch. And Asif as well. He came back into the team and got 94 straight away. So sometimes you just need a bit of a kick in the backside to get you to start moving forward again, and it worked out well. Bandari came in, young Arjun Kumal. He's going to be a star of the future. He's got a few things that he needs to work on right here, right now. But the quality that he's shown through domestic cricket, I think he needs to spend a bit of time just below the national team and start dominating that arena before we see the true fruits of his labour for the national team.
You spoke about Arjun. I was going to touch about it as well. So he's played, scored a lot of runs in a domestic circuit.
Yep.
But international cricket is a different gravy, and we saw how he struggled a bit as well. But with his age, he's in for a long run. How do you see his development going forward?
Oh, look, sometimes you want it to happen straight away. It's a tough game, cricket, and the going from domestic cricket PM Cup to international cricket against some of the best players in associate cricket, it's difficult. It's not just an easy transition from scoring hundreds in PM Cup to scoring hundreds for Nepal in international cricket. So he's got to learn how to do that, and it's difficult. Yes, while you're with us, he'll gather knowledge. He'll understand how we want to play, but there's no substitute for anything. Nets aren't going to get in there. He's got to play games at that level. So under the Nepal A-team series tours, one coming up, going to India, I think that's going to be very beneficial for players like Arjun to get a grasp of what international cricket's all about, and they're going to play against some really high-class Indian domestic players. So great curve for him to be on at the moment. He's only young. He's got plenty of time. Sometimes if you rush them in, they don't do well, they may never come again. So, look, I just want to make sure that we don't rush him. He doesn't need to play every game, doesn't need to play every series. If there's an A-team series, I want him to go away and dominate in that. Needs to work on a few things, as I said before. The higher you go, the faster they bowl, and you've got to get used to balls bouncing around your head. Work out how you're going to play that as a smaller batter. He's got to work out his shots that he wants to play to those, and you don't get it batting on wickets that only bounce knee high. You've got to face balls that are coming fast at your head to work out how you're going to play it. So there's a lot to learn, and that's not just Arjun. That's all our players. Going to the Netherlands, we're going to face a lot of fast bowling over there. They're not going to produce spinning wickets, so we need to find a way to do that. And the best way to do that, yes, we'll do some work off field, but on field against high quality opposition in A-team series is where Arjun's going to learn a lot about himself, learn a lot about his cricket and how he can move forward.
On the pick of the series was Ishan Pandey. So he came in, scored 2 half centuries, one cameo that took us to the win as well.
Yep.
How did you see him integrating into the team, and how is playing?
Oh, look, he first and foremost, he's a wonderful young man. He's a great human. Very intelligent. Obviously, he's the doctor. And look, his cricket will only get better now. I think whilst he had success, he left a lot of runs out in the middle. He got 84 in the last game, and he got out with 10 overs to go. So he had the game by the scruff of the neck, and he let go. So he's got to learn to be better doing that. I've spoken to him about that, even in the A-team series against USA and Scotland. He got a couple of good 50s, and then he gets out with plenty of overs left. There's no need for him to get out at that stage. So once again, to have success and to still be able to gain momentum, get better, I think he's in a really good place. He's slotted straight in, exactly what we were looking for, to combat left arm spin, and he played it beautifully.
You mentioned earlier when you came in as the head coach, you needed someone at the top left-handed. Ishan seems to be that guy. Do you think he's the answer for our top order option for left-hand batting?
Yeah, look, I think he is at the moment, yeah. It doesn't mean to say that he's going to be there forever, but if he carries on his performance and keeps getting better, there's no reason why he can't be there forever. Other players, it's good to have the players underneath us playing good cricket, scoring good runs, to put pressure on the players up above. It just keeps giving the best out of everyone, and that's just going to create great depth for cricket Nepal in years to come. Ishan has done nothing wrong. He's, as I said before, he's a great young man. He fitted so well into the team. He's a presence out there, which is good, something different, and he certainly had success, which I'm hoping that he has a little bit more a lot more in the near future.
Another thing is the second wicketkeeper position that's really unsettled in our squad. So we had Anil Shah, we used Arjun South in previous series, we have Lokesh in T20 squad, we used Binod. So how do you see that situation that's not been taken by anyone that has come in straight away? Yeah,
look, it's still up for grabs. Binod's come in, he's been away from international cricket for a while, and he came in through sheer weight of performances. And, as a batsman, performances aren't 40s and 60s, they're hundreds. He got 180 in one of the PM Cup games, and that just highlighted his ability to score runs. He's very knowledgeable, he's very experienced, very calm, which I like in a player sitting in the dugout. Someone who's very calm, but very tactically aware of what's going on out in the middle also. Unfortunately, he got a couple of opportunities, didn't quite nail them for reasons that he probably went a little bit too hard too early, and he needs to be able to understand that he's got all the time. He's got a lot of time. When you open the batting, you've got the potential to face 150 balls plus. It's a lot of balls to face, and you don't need to score all your runs in the first 25 balls you face. But look, he came in. He didn't get the opportunities. We thought we needed a change. It's tough when you're in must-win situations. You can't let people hang in there for too long until we see change. And we've got a stable below us where we're able to rotate players if need be, if necessary. And the wicketkeeper's position, the reserve wicketkeeper's position, Asif is probably our best keeper at the moment. But the reserve wicketkeeper it's there. People just need to come in, stick their hand up. As I say, go away on these tours, play these A-team games. If you're a batsman, don't get 40s and 60s. Bash the door down. Don't tap on the window, bash the door down with big hundreds.
One thing that stood out in our two series was spin attack, especially Sandeep Lamisani getting those crucial wickets for us. And Lalit, he didn't get the wickets, but he did his job and got the wickets later on the later half. How do you see this spin queens performing, and how worried were you about Lalit not getting wickets?
Look, Lalit cops a lot of flack because he doesn't take the wickets. But what he does, he provides the opportunities for the other end to take wickets by controlling the run rate. And I have a saying with the boys here that if we're bowling dot balls or going for singles, pressure's on the batsman. And Lalit does that. When he sticks to the plan that we come up with, when he sticks to that, he's very, very effective. And at times, a bowler's going to go through. Look at Sandeep during the World Cup. He only took one wicket, and no one's talking about that fact. But he only took one wicket. But now he's come back into the competitions here, and he's taken plenty of wickets. So it does happen. Leg spin is probably it's the hardest skill to perform on a cricket field, but you also get more spin. You also get more drift, more dip to confuse the batsman. Finger spin, we've changed a few things with the way Lalit approaches his bowling now, and credit to him, he bought in, he sat down, he listened, he bought into what we were trying to impart on him. And then he went out and performed in the middle. And I thought, the first two games, it took a bit of time for him to, trust it and understand it. But then, came the game against Scotland where he got 4 for, and he got 2 or 3 for against the USA in the last game. So, he finished really well. But I think the fact that cricket, you can't just keep up here all the time. You know, even the great players, you know, they don't take 4 wickets every game. You know, they sometimes take none, sometimes they take 1, then they'll take a 4, then they'll take a 3, then they'll take none again. So it's never a constant. It's always an up and down battle. But as long as you're providing what the team needs and the run rate's under control, you know, Lalit's been doing his job, and obviously he wants to take more wickets, and everyone wants him to take more wickets. But he's still doing his job, and that means a lot. It's not just the individual that we're looking for; it's a team player, and as much as a batsman, you know, 2 batters have a partnership, 2 bowlers have a partnership as well. And what Lalit did for the other end, provided wickets while he wasn't taking wickets, and then it was his time. He took the wickets while the other end provided the opportunity for him to do so. So, look, spin's never going to be too much of an issue for us. The only time we'll struggle is on pitches that don't spin, don't offer turn.
So Sandeep, you took 150 wickets during this series, and you beat your compatriot Stuart, Mr. Stark, on the way to be the fastest to take the 150 wickets.
Yeah.
But now that we're going to go Netherlands, what's the thing that you expect from him? Because it's not going to be as easy as bowling into you back in Netherlands.
Well, with you know, I take quotes from Shane Warne, you know, the great Shane Warne. I think they're going to be grass on the wicket. I think they're going to be as hard and as bouncy as they can be. And leg spinners, you know, Shane Warne always said, if it seams, it spins, you know, so that's the confidence that we can take in. And Sandeep's not only a spinner, but he also has the quicker ones, the skidders, the zooters, flipper, etc. And they can be very, very effective if he's bowling attacking the stumps. They can be very effective. You know, great bowlers, leg spin bowlers, don't need to turn the ball square to be really effective. And with the amount of revs you can get on the ball as a leg spinner, you can create confusion with the batsman through the air, through drift and dip, and changes of pace. So, look, I don't think it's going to be, you know, we're not going to stack our team with spinners, even though most of our batsmen do bowl spin. You know, it may not be. We might need to, you know, think differently about the way we're going to play and the way we stack our squad. But look, it may not be as effective as what it has been here, but there's still a massive role to play, and you know, the opposition don't really play spin that well. You know, so we can still attack them with spin. It just might not be 3 or 4 spinners. It might be 1 or 2. You know, frontline spinners with the part-timers.
If you see our recent selection in this 2 series, we have not paired Sompal and Karan together in this series.
Yeah.
So, bowling new ball partner for Som or Karan, they are bowling the new ball, but their partner has changed consistently. So, what are we looking at with the new ball partners?
Well, if you look back to the last series we played in Europe, in Scotland, who was the player of the series for us? Karan KC. You know, here he provides a bit of bounce, he provides a bit of seam and a bit of swing. Don't really get that at TU. And Sompal, I hope he doesn't shout at me when he sees me, but because of his height, the ball at TU can skid low, and he provided us with a lot of wickets with the ball just hurrying on, staying a bit low. Casey gets that ball to bounce. Now on grassy pitches, if the ball skids, it can be easy to bat. If the ball bounces, it's more difficult. But Som provides, you know, wickets up front with a new ball, as does KC, and I think Nandan's been outstanding as well in support of those two. And Gulshan, my goodness, he's come on in leaps and bounds, and he's up there with Nando as one of our quickest bowlers in the country. So look, those 4, we may play 4 at times, we may not, just depending on the surface that we get. But all 4 of those are very valuable and, you know, mightily needed in conditions that suit fast bowling.
So when you came in, Gulshan was not 100% fit, nursing with an ankle injury, and we could not use him as we have used recently.
Yep.
So how easy has it been to balance the squad with his? I mean, he can even bowl the full quota with the kind of form he is in with the bowling. So how easy has it been to choose the squad with his bowling?
Yeah, look, Gulshan's been great for us. You know, he did have a few injury problems, but nothing serious, which was good. And then there are times where we probably didn't use him, as much as we probably could have. But I think that comes down to him gaining confidence at this level, and also him, gaining the confidence of the senior players to throw him the ball consistently, and he hasn't really disappointed. Look, he's not going to Singapore, but he'll definitely be in Netherlands for us. Gulshan, he's earned the right to be selected. With his batting is outstanding. I love watching him bat. And he just keeps it so simple. When he bowls, he comes on. He provides something. There's always something happens when he bowls. Whether he makes the batsman jump, or he gets them playing shots again, or he takes wickets. So it's a great trait to have. When nothing's really going on, something starts to happen, and that's good. He's outstanding. He's a great young man too. He really wants to learn. He wants to get better. And I think every opportunity we can provide him to learn from better players. I know some franchise stuff may come up in the near future, to send him away to play with players who have played world cricket in the same room, watch them, how they go about their cricket, and ask some questions. He's only going to get better from that too.
I come to the T20 cricket, but summing up the League 2, we've got to the 5th position, and we go Netherlands and Oman next.
Yep.
In Oman we play Canada,
Yep.
and in Netherlands we play Namibia.
Yep.
We're in fight to get into the top 4. So how important is that finish going to be?
Yeah, as I said before, mate, every game in this League 2 is mightily important. When I came in, we weren't in a great position. We have slowly started to climb the ladder. We had a bad tour of Dubai after gaining qualification to the World Cup. I think we had still a bit of a hangover after qualifying. Not through alcohol, but through just the sheer joy of celebrating monumental effort. Winning undefeated, going through that undefeated. I think we were just still a bit, mentally gone for that series. So, yeah, that was a bad one. But now every game's important. We got Namibia who are close to us. We had UAE who are close to us in the first series, and then we had both USA and Scotland who are way ahead of us. But we've slowly gained some pace. So, 2 wins, 3 wins in Scotland would be unbelievable. If we get 2, I'd be very happy. If we get 3, awesome. And then Oman, conditions that we're pretty happy with. I know the boys were talking about before we went to Oman, they didn't play well there, and we turned that around pretty easily without thinking about the conditions and just going out and playing cricket. So if we can do that again, Canada, again, they can be a threat to us. Coming through the lower end of the table, but if we can keep distance between them and us, and Namibia and us, we'll be very happy.
Now we shift our focus onto the T20 squad.
Yep.
We play the Asian Games qualifier.
Yep.
Gulshan has not been named in the squad.
Yep.
You touched a bit on his franchise commitments.
Yep.
What's the plan with him not being in the squad?
Oh, look, Gulshan is a very important member of our team, but these opportunities don't come along a lot. And in the past, we've allowed players to go and play in, franchise cricket, even leading into big tournaments. No disrespect to the Asian Games qualifiers, but World Cup, we let players go and play in the Sri Lankan Premier League, and they missed a massive chunk of our preparation. So look, I think we need to be fair to everybody, and there's a few players who have said no to playing in this franchise cricket, but I think Gulshan can go and learn from better players around him, and as I say, see how better players go about their cricket, come back with some learnings, and hopefully he can keep moving up moving his career form forward. So by the time he gets to Netherlands, he'll be adjusted to the conditions. He would have bowled, he would have batted, and he would have done his fielding and what have you. Whether he plays or not, he'll be accustomed to the conditions. They'll be pretty similar in Belgium to what they are in Netherlands, only next door neighbour. So that's part of the reason. I'm okay with him going. Yes, of course, we want him to play every game for Nepal, but I think we've got bases covered for his role. With Karan KC and Sompol can step into that, role to bat 6-7 for us when needed. Arishake down there as well. He's come in the last couple of games. He can bowl some medium pace, but he can also power hit. We saw him finish innings in these last couple of games. And look, I'm very happy with what he's been doing for us. I know, again, he cops a lot of stick on social media. For whatever reason, I don't understand social media, but, obviously he's not the favourite player. But he's come in and done a great job for us. I spoke to him yesterday and I said, mate, be very proud of what you've done to come in and start hitting sixes. That innings he played against Oman in the first series gave us real momentum to get above 250, and I think that created doubt in Oman's mind. And then the other day when he came in and finished off against USA, to hit sixes like he does just from almost ball one, that's a pretty tough skill to have, and he does it regularly. So look, we've got bases covered for Gulshan to miss this series, but in future we'll have to sit down and work it out. Opportunities are coming up for everybody now, and we've got to be fair to those players, but also we've got to respect what can require as well. And if there is an opportunity that these players can go and play, and we don't feel that we're going to miss out on skills and whatever, I don't see a problem with it.
So the Asian Games is a great opportunity to play big teams. Last time we played India, and Associate Jaiswal got his first T20 and he's been the big name of this world cricket right now. So how do you see that opportunity of playing big teams in the Asian Games if we qualify from here?
Oh, awesome. Awesome. It's always great to play someone who's, a bigger nation. Our boys thrive on it. We've seen in World Cups. We've seen in, the bilateral series with the West Indies. They get up really for it. They really want to beat the powerhouse teams, and I love that. I love the fact that you go into that team, it's a free hit. We're not supposed to beat India. We're not supposed to beat Pakistan. We're probably not even supposed to beat Bangladesh or Sri Lanka. Afghanistan. But that's not going to stop us. It's an excitement that the boys can really look forward to. First and foremost, we need to get there. But once we do get there, we can really look forward to, and we shouldn't shy away from anything. We should really look forward to playing those teams. It's the only way we're going to get better, by playing better teams. I think we showed against USA and Scotland that we can stand up and fight against, the two top teams in this competition. We can stand up and fight, and we probably were the best team in that three-team series. So to go to the Asian Games, fantastic opportunity, and to play in a venue that we've never seen, we've never been to. It's in Japan, and it's probably the first time they've hosted major cricket in the country. So it'd be nice to be a part of.
So we're looking at the Asian Games, but side by side we've got 4 senior players back in the T20 side. Looking at in the T20 2028 World Cup, how do you see building the squad? Because last time we played UAE here, we saw a lot of new players.
Yep.
But now the 4 senior guys have come in. So how's this squad going to be composed?
Look, it's going to come down. The first thing I ever said to the players was, you can make selection very easy by performing, and you must perform. There may be some changes. The end of the cycle comes in October, when we finish the League 2 cycle. Maybe then we sit down and we work out how we're going to attack the next phase. T20 cricket, I think we need to probably make a call then too. And that's why these opportunities for the A team is very valuable. And the domestic structure, NPL, is going to be important in finding our next T20 squad. So look, it's exciting. I don't see it as a bad thing. You can't play forever, and Father Time catches up with all of us. Players that get older, they can't move as they used to. They can't bounce back the next day. They can't recover as quick as they used to. So that's all got to be taken into consideration. But I think if we do it the right way and we add some players to the squad, don't change the whole thing, but add some players, feed them in, see how they respond in the pressures of T20 cricket, and then we can make a more educated decision. But unfortunately, players, careers are coming to an end. There's a few that are closer to the finish than they are at the start, but that's just a natural progression. The contribution they've given in Nepal cricket over time is, something they should be very, very proud of. It's not over, it's not finished, and the only thing they can do is make sure they stay fit, strong, healthy, and keep performing.